In this episode, International Man of Mystery Travis Rosbach and I came up with a few sketch ideas. You flew this plane through a Category 1 storm, right?
Hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Hurricane. All right. Yeah, it's not a storm, it's a hurricane. All right. So I was thinking, like, how does it get crazy as it ramps up? What is the thing that really sets it to a Category 6? I love that you hired a 6'4" felon to help you out with chopping down trees. And you said, like, found out I was faster than he was, right? But he's a 6'4" felon. Now, I don't know if you're 188 to 205 pounds, like, you're probably a little bit taller than me, maybe right around the same. But this is someone you're going to be looking. Okay, so you're going to be looking up at this guy, and you got to tell him, yeah, you're not very good at this. Like, how do you have that conversation? I should know this, but Blue Dream is probably a strain of the marijuana that you like to smoke, that you go out and chop down trees. Okay, so you say that you can hear the trees talking to you. What conversations are they having with you as you're chopping them down? Like, I think that would be really interesting to find out. Hey, the trees maybe aren't so cool with this. Like, hey, go to the gym. You don't have to come out here and do this. So
that's my cousin, man. Leave him alone.
Yeah. Which one did we pick? You'll find out on this episode of...
It's a sketch comedy podcast show.
Welcome to Sketch Comedy Podcast Show, the one-of-a-kind show where I, Stuart Rice, invite interesting people to have intriguing conversations and then improvise a comedy sketch based on what we talked about. It's the only show like it on the internet. Travis Rosbach made his claim to fame and riches by developing the Hydro Flask. You know, the metal water bottles that high school students use and cake with stickers. But Travis is much more than the purveyor of high-end drinkware. He's also a high-flying hero, an adventurer, and one that communicates with trees. On a side note, this is one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded, and this conversation was so much fun. I hope to have Travis on again. And now, my conversation with Travis Rosbach, creator of the Hydro Flask and unironic International Man of Mystery. Travis.
Stuart.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I've got a quick question for you, if that's okay.
As long as it's not a hard one, I'm okay with that.
Well, we'll see. It goes in waves. What makes you interesting?
It is a hard one right out of the gate. This morning I was down at the Tumalo Country Store / gas station, and I was thinking about that because I listened to your show, and I had to pay cash, and I realized last Monday I had to pay cash also because their servers were down, and I was hangry and I didn't have any cash, and so the woman bought it for me. And so I was thinking I would tell that story about me getting hangry, but then I thought of another time where I landed a commercial airplane in the Caribbean in the middle of a Category 2 hurricane. So I thought maybe I'd talk about either one of those, but I'd let you kind of decide which one was more interesting.
Let's see. Someone's going to buy you lunch, or you were a hero. Let's go with... one of them is the narration of someone else being a hero for you, because low blood sugar is pretty good. True. But let's go with your story, your little story about an airplane.
Okay.
How does that situation happen?
Yeah, we can go with that one, I guess. So I was a commercial airline pilot down in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I flew for Seaborne Airlines. We flew Twin Otters on floats. So basically, these big propeller planes that we'd take off and land in St. Thomas in the harbor and St. Croix. And
these are the ones that come into the water, right? They land on water?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And we would take turns who would fly which flag. So we were flying back and forth to St. Thomas, trying not to fall asleep because it's so hot. We were about 600 feet off the ocean, and oftentimes we'd kind of look over and see somebody sleeping next to us. And so it was my turn to fly to St. Thomas. We knew that there was a storm brewing coming, and yet the chief pilot made the decision that, nope, we're still open for business. Please fly. So we went to St. Thomas, and we went to take off, and it was like the storm was really, really upon us. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name. I'd probably have to look in the log books. I don't remember the name of the storm, but it came in as a Category 1. And, we'd been through Category 5s before, not flying, but we just recently had a Hurricane Lenny come through as a Category 5. So 1 didn't seem all that intense.
What's involved with a 1, if you don't mind me interjecting real quick? What is it? Yeah.
It's just windy as hell. It's really windy, a lot of gusts. The sea gets real choppy. You're probably not going to lose a roof. It's nothing like your garbage cans are going to fall over, stuff like that. Not a real
minor.
Yeah. Mere flesh wounds at that point. And so it was my turn to sit in the right seat and be the co-pilot, and I did not like the man I was flying with. He just was not a good dude. Later he got arrested, so I didn't have to worry about flying with him. But I had a girlfriend who was sitting, even though this was after 9/11, we still had an open cockpit because, it was the Caribbean and we weren't really concerned about that kind of stuff. And so I have this girlfriend in the back, and she's got her headset on so she can hear what is happening. And he takes off, we start flying, and we hear on the radio, it's now a Category 2, you guys need to turn around. Well, we'd already passed the point of demarcation, which means we were closer to St. Croix than we were St. Thomas. And so we just kept going. And I had just recently got out of flight training up in Canada. And one of the coolest things that I shouldn't say it's cool, but I found it really interesting was, especially after 9/11, this was really top of mind. If the pilot next to you seems to be out of sorts and doesn't seem like he's able to, or they are not able to continue, you need to say, hey, look, like, I'm going to take over. You just chill. I got it from here. And if they continue to not be cool and they don't respond, then you have to basically disable them. And we were told,
not their controls. You have to disable the person. Okay.
The pilot. Yeah.
Okay.
So you punch them, you grab the fire extinguisher, you disable the pilot. And so as we're flying, this guy starts going into just la crazy land. I mean, he just starts showing signs of insanity. Now, I'm maybe not always the most sane and rational person myself, but thank God I had my girlfriend at the time behind me, kind of checking back at her, and she's like, well, this isn't good. Like, this guy's not doing the right thing here. So I was like, okay, well, if she gives me the thumbs up, I'm going to just,
Oh, I thought you were going to say she had a piano wire in her purse, and she was just going to...
Wouldn't that be cool? That would have made the headlines, right? So we're getting closer and closer, and man, it was rough. Like, it was now a full blown Category 2, and we're coming in, Hurricane Category 2. We're coming in, and we have these little white, basically PVC posts, like pipe, in the ocean, in the harbor, that we call the goal posts, because our goal was to land in between them. So he's coming in, and he's like, I can't see him. I can't see the goal post. And he's starting to freak out. And we come down, and I can see him. I'm like, Al. I can say his name now because the statute of limitations is up. I'm like, Alan, they're 1 o'clock, and he's just not getting it. You're too high. Okay, now Alan, you're too low, too high. Go around. So he decides instead of going around, he's just going to crash us into Christiansted, into the town. And he's like, we're just going in.
He's like, I know there's a mattress shop there. We can just, it'll be a nice soft landing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I give it just a quick look back. And now my girlfriend's just white as a sheet. She can't talk. She can't move. She's holding on. And mind you, we've got a full plane full of people. I mean, like, we've got passengers on board that are screaming, crying, freaking out. We're bouncing.
How many people are we talking?
Not a lot. I think there was probably about 10 souls, maybe 10 of us total on board. Maybe a few more, but I can't recall. I'd have to check the logbook. We're coming in. Alan's like, we're going in, and I can see we're headed right into either a sailboat or the harbor into the pub. And I was like, okay, it's my plane. I've got the plane. And he's like, no, I got it. I was like, I'm gonna grab the. Can I swear? Can I say fuck?
You do whatever you want.
I'm like, I'm going to grab the fucking fire extinguisher and take you out, Alan, and I think that I will. And he kind of gave me a look, and I was like, I am. I'm going to take you the fuck out. And so he goes, all right, fine, your plane. And we go around, and boy, I gave it everything we had, and we just barely missed the sailboat. We just barely missed town. And then as we're flying, there's a big-ass mountain right behind Christiansted. And we're flying right into a house. Like right into this house, and they were doing construction on it because of the Hurricane Lenny. And I could see the people's eyes and faces seeing that they were going to get hit by a seaplane. And I don't know how, but we missed it. We come around, we come in, and I put us down in between the goalposts. We float over, and we power in, and I went to the chief pilot and I said, I will never fly with that man again. I said, like, he's not safe, yada, yada. And about a week later, he got arrested for being drunk. And he had been in the pub at 2:00 in the morning, and 7:00 he shows up to fly, and he saw that the people who he was drinking with saw him on, walking down the board ramp, and they're like,
stumbling into the plane. Yeah.
Like, we know 5 hours ago you were just as drunk as we were. And so they called the police, they got him out. 2 weeks later, he was back on the job. But at that point, I shouldn't talk anymore about Seaborn. But yeah, so that was kind of an interesting afternoon.
Crap. That's, what's the first thing you do when you get off the plane? Like, when you're in that situation, I mean, obviously your adrenaline is through the roof. What happens? What do you do when you get right off of that plane?
I think my first instinct was to take Alan out. Still, I still really wanted to kind of hit him, but my girlfriend was there, and I think I remember helping the passengers down the gangplank, and they were so distraught. They were crying, and there was fairly larger St. Thomian women and Crusian women and men, and they were visibly shaken. And so I think it was like, okay, I got to step up and deal with Alan later, but I got to help them. And then my mind goes into business mode where I'm like, okay, liability here. Like, we probably shouldn't have taken off in a Category 1 and landed in a Category 2. So it was just like PR and putting out fires at that point. And, okay, yeah, just go talk to the customer service. They'll take care of you. And I kind of went into that mode. And then I got angry with Alan, but I never did touch him. So yeah.
Yeah, because I can imagine that would not be. It's not a hug.
No,
that's not a hug.
Dude,
dude,
a quick little tickle.
Yeah, you almost got us killed. Holy crap! Well, that's definitely a story you can tell at any time, and you definitely have the best story in the group, I'm sure. Holy smokes. All right. Well, besides being a flying superhero, you're like the Caribbean Sully, if you will. But So besides that, what else makes you interesting? What are other things that you've done? Because we posted up the title that you like, the International Man of Mystery, which is not far from the truth. You've done a lot of different things. What's some other things that people might know you for?
Well, I was a dive master and dive instructor for quite a while in St.
So you were in the air and underwater.
Yep, yeah, right. and St. Croix, and I was also a boat captain for quite a while, and I just had a really, really good time underneath and on top and above the Caribbean, and then I really realized that I had read this theory that, and I don't know that it's just a theory, but to be nice, I'll just say theory, that people who live in warmer environments go a little bit soft mentally and physically because it's lethargical, to live in a warm environment. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to shovel snow and ice. And so I realized that like my life was really good. And so it was time to move back up to the.
So how do you screw it up to make yourself stronger?
Yeah, well, so I moved to the icy Northwest and start shoveling snow and ice, and then I ended up buying some property and some chainsaws, and I learned how to cut down trees, like big ass trees, to give me that same sort of excitement of near death experience on a regular basis. And so that's kind of where I am now. Is I'm at the point where I don't ride my motorcycles anymore. I don't fly jets fast anymore. And then after the airlines, I moved up to Florida and flew private jet charter. But so yeah, now I'm cutting big ass trees, and that keeps me on my toes and keeps me mentally sharp and focused.
Any stories there? Like we've all watched those like logger shows on whatever channel, but like. That is one of those things we never thought we'd ever think about as a society, other than the people that go out and do the like lumberjack work. Yeah. Do you have any stories? Like, did a tree go the wrong direction, or probably the better stories are the trees didn't go in the right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, growing up in Oregon, I always like flipped off the lumberjacks in the log trucks, and I always thought, fuck you for taking all of our trees. I had no idea how a sustainable forest actually works. I always thought the more trees the better, right? I mean, if one is good, 5 are even better than 1. Well, when I bought the property, it was all completely overgrown with juniper trees, which can be fairly big. I mean, like really quite large trees. And they suck up all the groundwater for the ponderosa. So the faster I cut the juniper, the better and healthier the ponderosa grow. And the pondos are much more beautiful trees. And so I got on Craigslist, and I found this felon who can't find a job anywhere else. And he says he loves cutting trees. He's 6'5", and he comes out, and I really like to cut the trees, and he likes to limb them because he's like this big jolly green giant. He just goes and they're limbed, and I found we found he and I that I'm 10 times faster than he is, and the reason why is because he cuts it the way lumberjacks cut it. They cut this wedge, and then they cut it from the back, and it falls that direction, and you know where the tree is going to be. Well, I cut mine flat and then just hope that it doesn't hit me or that I can get out of the way before it starts to fall. So I used to smoke a lot of Blue Dream, which I don't recommend because it made me crazy anyway. But I'd smoke a lot of Blue Dream, and I'd just go out and just cut and cut and cut. And then he'd come along behind me and limb and limb and limb. And we had quite a few times where, damn it, if I almost just didn't get hit by a big ass juniper tree, but I didn't. So that's good. Yeah.
I like that you knocked on wood because wood did not knock on you. That's
yeah.
That's oh man. So was that part of the experience, was just like cutting that tree and just being like, let's see where it goes. If it comes at me, I just got to move out of the way. I got to be fast.
And not to sound, out there or anything, but as I get into the zone, and I find this with a lot of things that I do. I have a tendency to get my head down, get myself in the zone, or the zone gets into me, really, is more of it. And I just fucking go. And with the trees, as the zone happens, as that zone time is happening, the trees will talk to me and they'll say, or it could be the blue dream, but the trees talk to me and they say, hey, come cut me, or hey, cut that guy, or, this one's ready to go, or that one's ready to go, or, they have these various things that they'll communicate to me. And so when I come up to the tree, it's not 100% of the time, but I'd say 95% of the time I come up to just the right side to cut them on. And I worked the saw around enough to where I have a fairly good idea as to where they're going to go. Sure. But there's been days where I've had like 6 or 8, and they're called widow makers because they'll hit you and kill you. But they fall, they're cut, and they hit another tree. And they're so big you can't physically push them. So you have to either cut more trees, which gets really dangerous because now you got 2 trees falling somewhere, or you got to hook a line up to it and pull it with the truck or a machine. And then you've got, of course, snow and mud and slippery conditions and roots and stumps and just shit everywhere that as I try to run away, I try not to trip over, in the interim. So.
Holy crap. That is an insane amount of danger. And that's just like, it. That's a Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Wednesday at 2:00. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a daughter now, and so I don't take as much risks as I used to. I don't ride my motorcycles. I don't fly jets. I don't do stuff. Not that jets are dangerous, but I just, and I don't even cut as many trees as I would like, but it is chainsaw season right now. And so I am out there cutting. Yeah. It's just such a good workout, man. I just feel so good getting that physical, full body, mental workout. And just, I get so sore at the end of the day and just covered in grease and gasoline and just shit, and I just fucking love it.
Well, to me, that's way better than if you go to the gym, because basically you're just going to the gym and you're just like lifting some weights, but nothing gets done. You get the result afterwards. You feel like you've accomplished something afterwards. I think that's a much better workout.
And I can tell the difference between the store-bought muscles and the real muscles. Living here in Tumalo, we got a lot of cowboys and cowgirls, and you can tell they're country strong. It's like you cut down a tree, and then that just is the beginning of it. Now you got a bucket and chop it up, and you got to pick it up, and you got to throw it and move it, and you're squatting and lifting and throwing, and then there's a rock in the way. You got to pick up the rock and throw it. And back in the old days, I used to go to the gym, and it's night and, they're not even comparable almost. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have the fear of death in them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's amazing what that does for the physical body is when you experience that. Like, you gotta be on your game. Like it's a mental acuity as well as a physical acuity. That's impressive. Do you post up videos of you chopping down these trees?
No, I try to stay away from the social media, because when I go to social media, it takes up a lot of my time, and then a lot of people start coming in and they start asking, for stuff or, whatever. But I'm going to be getting a skid steer, which is like a whole nother topic, but it's a really cool little like micro mini machine that I can pick up trees and dig holes and move stuff around. And I'm thinking I probably will post a couple GoPros out and around, and then kind of start doing that, because it's really rewarding to go up to a thicket of forest that you can't see through. And then, 4 days later, there's a park and a little park bench and a place to eat lunch. And there's like really, like a beautiful little area. And so I'd love to just, even if for myself, if nobody even watches, I'd love to get video of that and time lapse it,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and for someone like myself, the amount of times I've got an opportunity to go out and chop down a tree is pretty low. Like I don't have that many opportunities to do that. none opportunities to do that. So it'd be kind of cool to be able to watch you do that. I think that's awesome. Plus, there's got to be some blooper reels there. Yeah.
I hope not.
I hope not, right? Yeah.
I only have one opportunity to have a blooper.
It was a great blooper, though. It was the final blooper is what it was.
Yeah, I will. I appreciate you saying that because it's been on my mind, but then I think, well, I don't know, like, it's a lot of time, energy, and effort. But I think even just for my daughter, for in the future, to see what, and just for the historical reasons for the land. I'm really into the history of this plot of land in this area. And so just to show the natural progression of, how it's progressing, I think would be really rad.
Yeah. And where you live is Tumalo. And you actually, Tumalo, I keep doing that, but Tumalo. I think I've been through there too, and I can't believe I can't say it right. You actually, now you have a company that you just started, right? Tumalo Group.
A few years ago, yeah.
A few years ago, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
wait, tell everybody what that is, because it's interesting. It seems like this amorphous thing, but I'm sure it's very focused when it needs to be. So why don't you probably do a better job of explaining it than I would?
I like the word amorphous, though. That was a good one. It's Travis in my Rolodex. And for anybody under 40 who doesn't know what a Rolodex is, it's my contact list and myself. I tried after Hydro Flask to retire and just do absolutely fuck all except for travel the planet. And everywhere I would go, people would ask me, how do I do this? How did you do that? What happens now? How do I connect with who I need to connect to? And so I started the Tumalo group just to help brands and businesses grow. I really enjoy, I get the same sort of rush cutting down a tree and starting a brand. I love to see a brand go from its infancy or the back of a napkin, as they say, all the way through to fruition and people buying a product. And so I help small startups and I help large, massive Fortune X number, fill in the blank companies, corporations source products. So I have a lot of factories that I've worked with for decades now, and I trust them. I trust them with IP. I trust them intellectual property. I trust them with ideas, and I trust them for prices and to keep their mouth shut and not knock us off. And then I also have graphic designers and engineers and people that are like just way, way, way smart. And we help put together a brand or a business. And then I also do, as a part of it all, it's business consulting, business mentoring, coaching, if you will. I don't have any kind of like buy now button or 3 weeks to, optimal business practices. I don't have any of that shit. It's just more real world. Let's just get your brand up there.
So a couple years ago, I tried to start a company, a brand, and I could have used your advice so badly because I went and paid for marketers that was their big focus was you got to have a time stamp on it and blah, blah, blah. No, it's really about building value within that brand and making it more real. And I am 100% with you on that.
Yeah,
and you have experience with building a pretty decent brand. Like you mentioned it, like you invented the Hydro Flask, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was me.
So I've definitely spent hundreds of dollars on those, but,
thank you. Yeah, I think you actually bought the fish aquarium right here.
Yeah. It looks like that definitely looks like a Christmas from a couple years ago. So, when you talk about stealing IP, that is one of the biggest things when you're doing manufacturing. I'm just going to go down this path because I'm interested in it. How do you find places that you can trust for IP? Because honestly, like we see knockoff everything. Like within days of something getting announced, there is a knockoff, including Hydro Flask. So how did you build those relationships so that people wouldn't steal that? Because
Well, yeah, there's a lot.
And can you
in that.
show the bottle that you just bought?
Well,
Because it's so crazy.
I won't show the logo, but yeah. It's
No, don't show the logo. But look at that thing. It's a monster.
Isn't that something? My theory
it's got a serious
if I
handle.
Well, and I'm glad too. And it feels nice. It's a nice material and it feels stout. And I'm going to get ripped drinking it because it's so damn heavy. But, well, it's 8.5 pounds or 8 pounds for fresh water. I think 8.5 for salt. And this is fresh, obviously. And then the metal on top of that. My theory is if I have a gallon next to me throughout the day, I'm going to drink a lot more than I try to drink half of my body weight in ounces every day. So I'm between 188 and 200. So I say about 100 ounces. And so I figure if I have a gallon, I may drink at least, hopefully, my 100 ounces. And so this is kind of my theory for that.
I love it.
So as far as the knockoffs go, with Hydro Flask, we were very fortunate that we were the first doing double wall vacuum insulated water bottles. It just wasn't happening. And then I had a fantastic, awesome friend of mine who was also just happened to be a patent attorney named Michelle in Salem, Michelle Valching. And Vlach Ing, actually, she just got married. It was Michelle Ing. I just call her Michelle Ing, but she's now a hyphen. But anyway, Michelle did a great job of getting us design patents, and the design patents gave us the right to advertise patented and patent pending, and so that gave us I feel that gave us about a 3 to 6 month buffer where the honest stayed honest and the dishonest, and not dishonest, just the opportunists, really.
Opportunists, yeah.
Opportunists were like, oh, okay, well, wait a second, let's check into those patents. And they were still kind of up in the air, and it's still kind of vapor at that time. But that gave us just enough lead time to go out and sort of, do our magic, as it were. And then our first knockoff came from the guy who was screen printing for us. And he was literally 3 doors down in the same little strip mall complex. And he knocked us off. And so it's not always just, the foreign countries that are maliciously knocking people off. In fact, a lot of times it's Americans finding other factories in other countries to knock you off. It's not just, that country, damn it, they knock everybody off. Nope, that's not actually true. A lot of times it's those damn Americans going to those damn factories, then knocking you off, and that's the part that I didn't realize. And I think a lot of people don't really know or talk about much is that it's the asshole neighbor who's going to steal your idea and knock you off, not necessarily the asshole on the far side of the world. But that happens too, though, of course. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. But that's really interesting because I think everybody looks at like, oh, you have a factory, you're working with a factory in China. They're the ones that are stealing it, but not necessarily, because it's literally your graphic designer was like, oh, I see an opportunity here. I can put a different wrapper on this thing and call it something else. And all of a sudden, yeah. And that's what he did, and he was hiding behind, this dogmatic religion that he was in. And him and his father said that they were upstanding citizens because of this and that and the other. And then they were, moonlighting as a bottle company. And he knocked us off like fair income. Like he cut the bottle open, cut it in half, sent it off and said, make me exactly that. And they made exactly that. And that was what we had patents for. So he's now since morphed into larger contraptions, and karma has done what it will with him. Oh my God, that's terrible. You almost want to take a fire hydrant to his head, or a fire extinguisher to his head.
Well, what's funny is I saw him at a coffee shop. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. And I was ordering my coffee, and I kind of look over, and the guy's such an asshole. He was sitting at a 4-top. It's a busy coffee shop, and he's on his computer, and he's got 3 open seats around him when there's groups of people everywhere trying to get a 4-top, and he's taking up the full 4-top. So of course I get my lavender latte, and I sit down right next to him, and I just gradually start scooting over closer and closer to him until finally my arm was touching him, and he got up and he bolted, and then I got up and I let a four top sit down.
Always the hero. That's you. You're always the hero, Travis.
Looking out for those four tops.
So you at some point you said, "Fuck it, I'm out of Hydro Flask for whatever reason." You built a very successful brand. Like that's incredible. And you decide, I'm taking off. You're just going to go travel. How many countries did you actually get into? Did you keep count?
No, I haven't. I need to. And the reason why I kind of want to is and I don't know the name of it, but I think it's like a Centurion Club, not for 100-year-old pluses, but for 100 country plus people. And so I really need to count and see if I can get a free T-shirt I'm sure I have to pay $100 or whatever. But I want to see if I can get a free shirt from this people who've been to over 100 countries club membership thing. But I kind of cheated because when I was a pilot and I was living in the Caribbean, I would fly to all these different islands that were like right there, or just over I say over the horizon. We don't actually live on a round ball, but just past that island is another island, and those are 2 countries. So I had to hit 3 new countries in 3 days. It's kind of like Europe. You go to Europe. My first wife was British, and we could go Ryanair back in the day for like 15 quid. We could be in another country. We could rent a car and be in 7 countries in the afternoon. And be home and have put 10 countries under our belts. So, Europe and the Caribbean, I kind of cheated a little bit, but
hey man, the numbers count.
They do. It's all a notch in my belt, I guess. But
yeah, exactly.
So I love to travel.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. What's a place that you would suggest someone go, and what's a place you would not suggest somebody go?
Well, that's a good question. I suggest people go to Africa, any country thereof, and go check it out. Like, I think the Americans, there's a lot of snowflakes. And I just love that term because we've got snow on the ground. There's a lot of just soft ass people who just don't know what the real world's like. You go to Africa. I was in Kenya. I went to Nairobi. I was in the, million man slum. And there's way more than 1 million people there. And that just put my entire life into perspective. I've been shot at. I've had knives pulled. I've been in all kinds of crazy scenarios. But physically being inside in the slum, it really hit. I suggest people go do that kind of stuff. If you want a real world experience, go to the Million Man Slum in Nairobi. That shit'll wake you up quick. That's a sobering thing. I suggest people do not go to Iceland. It's the most beautiful country ever. And I don't want anybody to go there because eventually I may want to retire there again.
Sure.
So I suggest do not go to Iceland. Please go to Nairobi. And those would be my 2. Okay.
All right. Good. I do have to make this comment real quick. Your facial hair is amazing. Like I wish you got that good Northwest, like full beard thing going on. So as far as that goes, like that's really on fleek. Now, do you do all the other Portland things where you have lots and lots of tattoos? Is that a thing that you also do?
I am covered, yeah.
Yeah, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I would say probably, I don't know a percentage, 70 to 80%, 70% of my body probably. Yeah.
Really? Not on your face though, and not on your arms?
Nope. I've kept it above my T-shirt lines.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got, and I think they just sort of come to me. And it's like, I'm going to get a tattoo of this or that or the other. And then I think about it I ruminate on it for months and months. And then if it's still with me, then I'll do it. Others, I'll be in a foreign land and, you guys have a tattoo parlor. Let's go check it out. And next thing I know, I'm there for 4 hours getting tattooed. And I point to my ribs. I was in China, and the only tattoos I'd ever seen was with the mafia, because that was all that there was. It was mafia tattoos, and if you saw tattoos, you knew you were looking at a badass motherfucker, right? Like you don't fuck with a guy with a tattoo. And so I would always go fuck with the guy with the tattoo. Like we'd be in a bar and I'd see guys with tattoos, and I'd, go show them my tattoos and I'd see theirs. And the people I'd with would just be like, fuck, like we don't want to hang out with Travis anymore because he just hangs out with the mafia. But then they kind of opened it up to the general public. And my first tattoo I got in China, I asked, I was like, can I see your autoclave where you sterilize the needles? And he's like, no, we don't have one. We don't clean the needles. And I was like, okay, obviously my translators have done a terrible job here. Let me, draw a picture and see. He's like, no, we don't do that. Yuck. Why would we clean the needles? And then I realized, it's because you use a fresh needle every single time. Okay, I'm good. Let's go.
Okay. You're a little bit on edge there for a second. You're like, maybe we need to go someplace else. I don't want to offend them, but.
Yeah, they wanted to go see the newest Marvel comic movie at the cinema. And I was like, yeah, we could do that, or we could get a tattoo. But then I was like, well, maybe the Marvel movie would be better and safer. But I ended up getting a tattoo instead. Yeah. And
you got a tattoo of?
Well, fuck if I know what it actually says, right? But I asked him, I was like, look at me, look at my tattoos. What do you think? And he was just Johnny on the spot, quick. It came to him. It basically says, be content with what you have, but always strive for more. And then he put my name in China is Huga. I have a official name. And so he put my Huga stamp, my little, when you dip it in the ink and you stamp it.
The wax and do the whole thing, Game of Thrones style. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he put that in red, and then the be content with what you have, but always strive for additional or more in just the traditional black ink. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Do you go for more, that's kind of like an inspirational, meaningful tattoo? Mm-hmm. Do you go for, is that mainly what you go for, or do you do wacky stuff too?
I do wacky stuff too. When I traveled throughout the South Pacific, I kind of collected just little scraps of paper. This was before cell phones and photographs on our cameras on our phone and stuff. But I collected little scraps of paper of tattoos and ideas and drawings and things. And then I would come home and then get them here, because I haven't really wanted to spend most of my holiday, or, I'm only in a place for 2 or 3 weeks, and I don't want to spend 3 or 4 days in a tattoo parlor where, I may not feel good or well afterwards and things. And so I brought those, a lot of my tattoos I brought home with me to get done here. But I've got a Lorax flying on my shoulder, because, the Lorax is all about protecting the trees, and if not him, who? One that I've got a fairly good buddy, Chris Callister, here at Iron Elephant Tattoo in Bend, and he's done the majority. He did all of my back and my ribs. He's done a lot of my tattoos, a lot of my work. But one of his favorite ones is I've got a little UFO with the H guy, the Hydro Flask guy, parachuting out of it, basically saying "fuck it, I'm out." And so I've got that. That's kind of one of the funnier ones, I guess.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like it. If you're gonna have a bunch of tattoos, definitely have have a narrative somewhere, right? That I think that's really cool, is if you can have different stories with different tattoos. I got this one here, I got that one there. I love that. I think that's really great.
I feel that when they find the body, they'll be able to look at it and go, who the fuck is this guy? Well, he's got this one and this one and this one. He's obviously lived here, and he's done this and he's done that. And I don't know of anybody who's got the H guy tattoo, so that must be the Hydro Flask guy. I don't know.
Right.
But they'll be able to identify the body easier.
Yeah, it's body hieroglyphics, right? So that's exactly what it turns out to be.
It is. And there are times where I'll be at a hotel where there's these really cool mirrors, and and I'll just kind of catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and go, oh shit, oh yeah, oh, I've got that one because I did this back then. And I forget that I even have tattoos. Like I see people with tattoos, I'm like, huh, you're a tattooed person. Gotcha. But when I see my own, it's like it brings back a memory. It conjures up past events and past lives. And so it does work like that. I don't have to have as good of memory if I have a good tattoo for it.
It's a good, I mean, that is the best reason to have tattoos. And they can look cool. That part too is pretty cool.
Yeah. There's that.
Well, this has been delightful. Travis, we do need to record a sketch though. So, Travis, you almost have me convinced to go get a tattoo. While I'm considering this huge life change, do you mind telling everybody about the Tumalo group?
Why they should visit the Tumalo group?
Yeah.
I don't know that people should visit the Tumalo group. It's not a great website. We're not really doing anything of any massive interest over there. I think that if people want to reach out to me, they can, but I don't want to force them to. I don't have any buy now button or anything, but it is tumalogroup.com, tumalogroup.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Travis Rosbach. I don't know how to do LinkedIn coding, but it's TravisRosbach on that LinkedIn thing.
Awesome. Well, it'll be in the show notes. Sometimes people like to reach out, so maybe someone's coming up with a brand and needs your help.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and I will. I have a big project I'm getting close to, and I will let you know because I'd love to come back.
Now I present our sketch, The Peaceful Sounds of Nature, in 3, 2.
I just absolutely love smoking my blue dream outside, clear blue sky, the trees, the rocks, the twigs, the stumps. Just love it. I love the dirt. I love the snow. I love the ice, whatever it might be. I'm just loving going out, smoking my blue dream, and cutting my junipers.
See what those dirty junipers do to our land.
I can tell, and that's why part of my mission in life is to take out as many damn junipers as I possibly can eradicate as quickly as I can.
That's cool. Can you make sure you get that one over there next to the creek?
You mean the big one that has got the chipmunk in it? That one?
Yeah, that one. Can you make sure you get that one next? And make it slow and painful?
I had, that sounds a bit kind of dark and sinister.
Yes, down with the junipers. Get them all.
I should get a t-shirt made with Down with the Junipers. That'd be cool. People would buy it. I could sell Down with the Juniper t-shirts.
Especially that juniper tree. You have to get that juniper tree.
But if I get that one, I'm going to have to get the one next to it also.
Oh, yeah, that one's also really bad.
The big one. But what about the chipmunk?
Collateral damage, but you need to make sure you get that juniper tree.
All is fair in love and war, I guess. And I could say that this is an all-out assault and war against the juniper. Fuck that chipmunk. Let's go.
Fuck that chipmunk. Also, fuck that juniper tree.
Fuck them. Fuck them both. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take that juniper and the other 3 junipers around it.
If you love it so much, why do you cut us in half?
Whoa. I was told that the junipers were not friends of the ponderosas and that it was okay to cut you guys down.
The ponderosas are racist.
Thank you for joining us for Sketch Comedy Podcast Show. We hope you enjoyed listening or watching as much as we enjoyed making it. And now for a little bit of legalese. Sketch Comedy Podcast Show is protected under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Derivative 4.0 International License. And if you can say that 5 times really fast, you win. Also, copyright 2023, Stuart Rice. Really, the reason for that is if you want to reproduce anything from the show, the sketch, or any part of the conversation, I would like you to reach out to me so I can get you a good copy of it. Thank you so much, and until next time, go and improvise a comedy adventure of your own. Maybe try not to get into a plane that's going to crash, though. Yeah, I saw you. That was my wife, you motherfucker. Yeah. Like, so do any of those three?
Paper cut in the next life. Yeah.
Do any of those three sound really good?
I like them all. Yeah, I can imagine like one additional shingle flying off, and somebody's like, "Okay, yep, there's the 417th shingle. It's now to category 5."
Yeah.
I can also imagine his name was Arrowhead Rob because he went to prison for having arrowheads amongst other things, and yeah, that's a good one. I really appreciate the talking with the trees, though. I think that sounds really
I think that one will turn out really, really good. All right, well, let's do that one then. So this would just be like you going out. Wait a second, he got arrested for owning arrowheads?
Well, that was the story that I originally heard. Yeah, was that every, I don't know a number, maybe 5 years, I think it is, the Native American tribes go to the government and say, "Hey, you guys owe us money, pay up." And the government goes, "We don't have money for you. We're not paying you any money." They say, "Go get the money or else." And so the government goes out and they're like, "Okay, well, let's just arrest a bunch of people for taking artifacts from public lands." And so they go out and they arrest a bunch of people. What happens when you get arrested? Well, court fees and, the whole system starts propagating money. And then they make the money. They go to the tribes and they go, "Here, now shut the fuck up, fuck off for 5 years." 5 years later, they come back, "Give us our money you said you'd give us." They say, "We don't have it." And then the whole thing starts again.
Holy shit, is that real?
Yeah, I had no idea that was taking place.
Why isn't anybody making a documentary about that? That is
and
horrific.
Then what's really crazy is Arrowhead Rob, I call him because his name's Rob, and he has arrowheads. He had the largest arrowhead collection in like the world, and they took it from him and they put it on display instead of giving it back to the tribe, they gave it to the federal courthouse in Eugene, Oregon, which I guess is where it is today on display. So yeah, I don't want any black SUVs following me for this, but that's the way it goes. Yeah.
Holy shit. That's, well, that took a dark turn.